In the halls of video gaming history, there have been those games that are good and those games that were real stinkers. In this special episode of Retro Reviews and Gaming Docs, we're going to be talking about one of the most infamous of stinkers, E.T. for the Atari 2600. E.T. was based on the hit movie by Steven Spielberg, and was created by Howard Scott Warsaw. Atari thought it would be a great seller since it was based on the movie of the same name. However, negotiations for the rights of the movie ended in July of 1982, which only gave Warsaw 5 weeks to get it done before the holiday season. Upon the game's final release, it became a critical flop, due to the fact that it had bad graphics and confusing gameplay. It became a video legend as well because it was blamed for the video game crash of 1983, and it also started the infamous legend of the Alamogordo, New Mexico landfill, which, however, was actually true. The main objective is to find all 3 parts of the interstellar phone that E.T. can use to call his home planet, which are scattered in various pits, and once you find all of them, then you have to guide E.T. to a place where he can call to have the ship come pick him up. This seems all easy and simple, however, once you start playing this game, you find out due to the poor gameplay and confusing graphics, this simple objective becomes very, very impossible. The 3 main NPCs that you'll have to deal with is an FBI agent who steals one of your pieces and rescatters it into another pit, a scientist who captures you and takes you to a very escapable jail, and Elliot, who resurrects you and takes one of your pieces of Reese's Pieces as a price. Once you've collected all the phone pieces and called the home ship and it takes E.T. back home, the game starts over again. The only way this game ends is if you run out of lives or you turn off the game yourself. The first issue I have with this game is its color scheme. It's a bunch of shades of greens and browns, which makes it hard for someone to even figure out the difference between the pits and the grass in some parts. Also, once you fall in a pit, you have to levitate to get yourself out, which uses up energy. But also, once you get out of the pit, you can only go up. So if you get out of the pit and then try to get back onto the grass, you fall back into the same pit again. How impossible is that? In order to find each piece, you have to push the trigger button to have E.T. move his head up. And if there's something, it'll show you where it is. Plus, the hints at the top of the screen are so difficult to figure out that it's just easier just to guess. As I stated at the start, there was the infamous landfill in Alamogordo, New Mexico, which was actually very true in some aspects, since in 1983 it was noted that semi-trucks full of Atari cartridges and parts were dumped and then covered in concrete. And just like the legend of Area 51, it was regarded as nothing more than pure urban legend, even stated by Warsaw himself, saying it was just a rumor. That was until May of 2013, when Fuel Industries was granted permission to dig at the site, 1 to help them create a documentary about the legend, and 2 to actually excavate the site and see for themselves. And on April 26, 2014, it was proven to be true when they found E.T. cartridges and parts during the early stages of the dig. In 2006, an attempt to improve upon the game came about by Dennis Debro, who took it upon himself to disassemble the source code and then release it for free, where David Richardson then, in 2013, using the source code, added unofficial fixes and patches to the game, which made it a bit easier to play as well. And in 2014, 1 year after the discovery of the E.T. cartridges in landfill, famed YouTuber James Rolfe, otherwise known as the Angry Video Game Nerd, used the legend of the landfill as the basis for the AVGN movie. Also, that same year, a documentary came out called Atari Game Over, which went into the downfall of Atari and talked about the infamous landfill as well. Here are my final thoughts on the steaming pile of crap. E.T. was a brave undertaking for the time, and yet it might not have been Howard Scott Warsaw's greatest moment. I really can't fault him for it, since he only had 5 weeks to create the game and get it out. So the real blame for me was rush development that killed the game. As far as the game itself, well, it's what happens when you try to rush something and you expect the results to be good, but nothing more than turn out to be a piece of crap. If you played this game or remember playing this crappy game, let me know in the comments down below. I'm Paul saying peace out and stay frosty.